What is happening here in Salt Lake City? Keep hearing about a market crash and interest rates being high and homes not selling and home prices dropping, but what exactly is happening here in Salt Lake City in the state of Utah? In today's video, I'm showing you exactly what's happening here in the Utah real estate market. But let's jump right into it. All right, so let's take a look. So here we're looking at the month of September and showing you exactly what happened last month here for September 2023. So if we look back, comparing it back to same time last year, September, we had just under 1,600 listings, new listings, and then last month we have just under 1,500 listings. So just about 100 listings difference. And then we have the number of closed sales that happened last month in September. So last year we had 1,150 listings that sold, and last month we had 884. So about 23% less in the total transactions that closed, or total homes that sales that closed. But overall, we understand that this is because of interest rates, right? We know that interest rates are impacting the housing market. Interest rates are higher than they have been in the last couple years, and there's a lot of people, sitting on homes with 2, 3, even 4% interest rates. But it just doesn't make sense for them to move up to a new home and get a 7% interest rate. But I mean, there's also still people selling their homes, right? They need to upgrade for whatever reason. They're relocating, or they just for whatever reason they need to sell their house, right? So we're still seeing a lot of that. There's still a lot of people taking advantage of the current real estate market, right? One of the things that I want to point out we're going to take a quick break right now. If you're new here, my name is Marvin Alvarado, the Sneakerhead Realtor here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I get calls and messages from people just like you every single day looking to make their move here to the state of Utah. And I love hearing from you guys. So if you're thinking about making a move here in the next 3 days, 3 months, or even a year from now, feel free to reach out to me. You can call me, text me, email me. You can also book a call with me down below. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to helping you make your move to Utah as smooth as possible. Now let's continue with the video. I think is interesting here is that September of 2022, the average or the median sales price was $521,000. And then last month is $519,000. So, I mean, considering the time frames, right, and it being a year difference and the interest rates being higher, we're not seeing a whole big drop in housing prices, right? Which is interesting to see. One of the things that I think is happening, right, is that there's a lot of buyers that have been on the sidelines trying to buy a house in the last couple of years, and I think it's a great opportunity if you can afford it to buy a house right now, because there's lots of opportunities out there. I'll share one of my other videos here at the end of this one where I talk about how are these buyers buying these houses? What are they doing to get into a house and afford a house in the current real estate market? Well, there's several things, right? Obviously, we're seeing that the housing prices have not dropped off significantly, but what buyers are doing is that they're asking for those closing costs. They're asking for the seller to contribute towards lowering their interest rate. They're asking for that 2-1 buy down, which will lower the interest rate for a couple of years. There's also a lot of other things that people are doing. You can go the seller finance route, right? So if sellers have home equity line of credit, or they have money to be able to put it towards a new home and keep their current home as a rental, you can go the seller finance route, right? Yeah, it does require a lot more of a down payment from 10 to 20%. But these are situations where if you have those funds to put towards a new house and you need to buy a house, you can negotiate some really good interest rates with sellers, anywhere from like 3%, 4%. But I mean, that's something that's negotiable with the seller depending on what type of rate they have. But there's lots of options on how you can afford a house currently with the current real estate market. So these are my thoughts on what's happening and why we're not seeing a significant price drop in home prices, is because buyers are taking advantage of the options that they do have in order to be able to get a home right now currently. But let's scroll down here a little bit further. So as we can see, if we compare last year, the number of new listings is down about 7%. The closed transactions is down about 23%. And then year to date, if we look at it, year to date we're down about 21% in listings, and then same, right, closed sales about 20%. So one of the other things that we can look at here is, and keep in mind this is for Salt Lake County specifically, right? So if we look at the average sales price for homes, last year, September of 2022, we were at about 610,000, which is interesting to see because if you look at the current market now, and for September of 2023, the average sales price has actually gone up by almost 13,000. So the average sales price for September of 2023 was 622,000. So that's an increase of about just over 2%. As far as when it comes to, when we break it down to single family homes, you can see that the average sales price last year, the same time, was about 678,000, and then last month we're just about 694,000. Condos and townhomes, that's going to be a little bit less, obviously, just because they're a little bit more affordable. But if we look at September of 2022, we're about 433,000, and in September of 2023, we're about 438,000. So that's about a 1.2% increase as well. But overall, we can see, which we typically see, for the most part, every month, that the highest, number of listings that we have by price range, that's in the 300 to 500,000 price range, right? But one of the things that it's also interesting to see here is that obviously in the luxury market, we wouldn't expect things to be moving as fast or selling as often just because of the interest rates. But if we look at it here, if we look at September of 2022, we had 84 properties that were in the 1 million to 3 million price range. And then, September of 2023, we had 73. So, I mean, yeah, that's about, 10 less compared to last year, but overall, not a significant amount, right? Which is interesting to see. Overall, there's a lot of things that are happening in the real estate market, and like I said, I think there's a lot of opportunities for buyers who do want to take advantage of being able to buy a house, and that they're in a position to be able to buy a house, and you can avoid that competition that we had 2-3 years ago. And one thing to keep in mind is that if you are waiting for those interest rates to drop, where is it that you want those interest rates to be, right? The likelihood of them being at 3% are not very likely to happen again. But what's going to happen if interest rates drop by from 7.5% down to 6%, right? All those buyers that have been on the sidelines waiting to buy a house, they're gonna come out and try to buy a house, making it more competitive for buyers. So if you're in a position where you're able to afford a house and you're a first-time home buyer, talk to a real estate expert so you understand what it takes to buy a house in the current real estate market. If you have any questions and you want to reach out to me, all of my contact information is down below. You can call me, text me, email me, do whatever you need to do to get a hold of me. And don't forget to watch some of my videos like this one, where I talk about how buyers are buying a home, and you can understand exactly what they're doing and how to look for those things, and you can take advantage of those deals. Other than that, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.